Brilliant. Thank you, Jack. So good afternoon, everyone. My name's Bracken. I am a student recruitment assistant over at Lancaster. My colleague today is Nicola. She'll be there answering questions on the chat. So she'll be here to answer anything that you might want to know. Nick, did you want to introduce yourself a little? You are on mute, by the way.
That would help, wouldn't it? Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. So yeah, I'm Nicola. I am a student recruitment officer at Lancaster University, and I'm going to be supporting this session for Bracken today and answering any questions you have in the chat. So please do pop all your questions in the chat, and hopefully I'll get around to answering them in this session.
Thank you. Okay, so we will get started. So just a little bit about us. Lancaster University, northwest in England, at the bottom. Well, we're basically right at the bottom of where Cumbria ends and Lancashire starts. We're about 2.5 hours from London and an hour from Manchester and Liverpool on the train. We're also very near to the coast, as well as being right by the Lake District. So we're in quite a nice little spot in the world. The 4 things we'll be looking at today are firstly, what makes a university competitive? We'll also look at the most competitive universities in terms of applying to them, the most competitive courses to apply to, as well as your application. So what is it that makes a university competitive? There are 3 main things. The first being reputation, the second, where they stand in league tables, and thirdly, the ability to respond to global market demands. So in terms of its reputation, these that you can get a good reputation from the quality of teaching. So how well the lecturers teach, how good they are at delivering the content, the availability of the course. So if it's easy to get onto, when I say easy, I mean, is there a lot of spots to be able to get onto, or are there not very many spaces? The volume of applications. So when I say this, it's how many people apply for this course. And lastly, the offer rates. So when we say offer rates, we mean what percentage or what fraction of applicants get onto the course based on how many apply in total. In the UK, we have the Teaching Excellence Framework. This came about a few years ago, and we started getting either gold, silver or bronze for universities that applied to it in around 2017. So you have gold, silver and bronze, as I just mentioned. Gold, there are 76 institutions, and we're on there, thankfully, but there's also universities like Cambridge, Oxford and Surrey. Then you have the silver institutions, and that's universities like Liverpool, John Moores, Manchester, Sheffield, Liverpool. And then for bronze, you have the London School of Economics, Salford, Westminster, and there's about 60 of those. At Lancaster in 2019, we received 19,727 applications. So in the chat, I'll give you 10 seconds. I want you to make a guess of how many offers do you think were given. So out of those 19,000, nearly 20,000 applicants, how many people did we offer a place to? Nick, what are some of the answers we've got? Because obviously I've got my full screen shared, so I can't actually see. Mute.
No, I'm awful at this mute button. Yes, oh wow, so yeah, there's lots coming through. Brilliant. So some have said 4,500, 18,000, 10,000, 12,000. Oh, they're coming through thick and fast. 1,500 and 6,000.
Okay, so the answer to this is 4,566. Did someone say 4,500? Very, very close. Well done. Yeah, so we offer places to around a quarter of the students that apply to our courses. Obviously, dependent on which course, this fraction might increase or decrease, but on average, throughout the whole university, we offer a quarter of applicants a place who have applied. Now, next one, the University of Oxford, they receive roughly 20,000 applications per year. So how many offers do you think they are given? I'll just give another 10 seconds.
Oh, fab. Okay, so they're coming through now, Bracken. So we've got 150, 3,000, 1,500, 3,500.
Let's
That, yeah.
see. So Oxford give around somewhat people are good at this, around 3,250. So they offer around a sixth of applicants an offer. They offer places to around a sixth of their applicants. And then next, finally, Harvard University in the US. They received in 2018 42,749 applications. So how many students do you think they enrolled?
I love this one. This one's always so
Me
interesting.
too, because you look at it and you think,
Okay, so the numbers are in. We've got 2,000, 2,500, 5,600, 20,000, 7,000, 5,000.
okay, so firstly, and I was surprised by this, Harvard is actually a really small institution. They offer 1,653 places. So bear in mind, that's about a third of the size of Lancaster. And we're classed as quite a small institution here. So they're even smaller. So that's around 126. Only 1 out of 26 applicants gain a place at Harvard. So that's really, really competitive. So we'll move on to courses and the offer rates in courses. So in medicine at Lancaster, we have close to 1,000 applications. Around half of those are interviewed, and then we accept around 130 of those. So it's worth mentioning that within medicine, there are governmental how do I say it? The government essentially gives you a certain number of places that you're allowed to fill. So at Lancaster, we're allowed to fill 129 places, and 4 of those can be for overseas students. If you look at Brighton and Sussex, they get 203. In King's College London, they get 400. And then if I just move that, the last one, at Edinburgh, they get 212. So the success ratio is about 0.29 at Lancaster. So at King's College, it's higher, and lower at Edinburgh. And we're about the same as Brighton and Sussex. So our success ratio essentially means that around 30%, 29% of applicants gain an offer of a place at Lancaster. Moving on to what are the most competitive universities within the UK? So, according to the University and College Admissions Service, aka UCAS, just in case you didn't know what that was stood for, how many universities and colleges are there across the UK offering undergraduate level higher education courses? So, to abbreviate, how many universities and colleges in the UK offer degree level education or undergraduate level education? A, B, C, or D? What's the most popular?
Yeah, we've got some coming through, Bracken. So we've got C, D, C, B. It's quite a mixed bag of answers here.
Okay, so the answer is D. So there's actually 395 institutions that offer higher education courses in the UK. This includes arts and agricultural specialists, as well as modern universities and traditional institutions. So there's 3 major UK league tables to help compare these institutions. The first one is the Times and Sunday Times Good University Guide. The second is the Guardian University Guide, which I'm pretty sure you have to subscribe to now. And the third is the Complete University Guide. So all of these 3 look at universities. They have slightly different criteria that they look at, and then they post a league table as a result. And it's worth looking at all 3. So in Lancaster, in the Times and Sunday Times Good University Guide, we are 8th. In the Guardian, we are 10th, and in the Complete University Guide, we are 8th. So we're a triple top 10 university, which is pretty nice to have. And then I've got some examples here of competitive universities within the UK. So you can see here, you're looking at Oxbridge, Bath, Warwick, LSE, Loughborough, Imperial College, St Andrews, and then we also have some more. on the next slide. We have Aberdeen, Exeter, Glasgow, Bristol, Edinburgh, York, Leeds. So these are all like really well-known universities within the UK. And they're a mix of Russell Group and non-Russell Group. Obviously, we're not Russell Group. So it's always worth having a look, and don't rule out a university just because it's not a Russell Group. Next, what are the most competitive universities in the world? So the Higher Education World University Rankings in 2020 included around 1,400 universities in 92 countries. So the top 9 are Oxford, Stanford, Harvard, Cambridge, Berkeley, Yale, California Institute of Technology, MIT, Princeton, and Chicago. So obviously the US have the majority, but then we've also snuck in a couple there also. And moving on again to some top tips for applying to a competitive university. Number 1, confidence is key. So the main thing you have to do is be able to believe yourself. You have to be capable. You have to apply knowing that there's a chance you get in. Having that mindset in the start means that you go in positively and confidently, and that reflects well if you go to interview. So do your research. What are the entry requirements at the university institution? Are they achievable for you? So for example, if you predicted 3 Bs at university A level, and you're going for a university that requires an A star and 2 As, do you think that's actually achievable, or should you be applying for courses similar to 3 Bs, like an A and 2 Bs, for example? Next, so many people don't get into competitive universities because they simply opt out of applying. Why not give it a go? What harm are you doing to yourself if you go for it? You never know if you're going to get in. Why wouldn't they choose you? That's like, ask yourself that question. There's no reason for you not to apply. And lastly, have a positive mindset. Again, you could be one of those that gets in. There's so many things you can do to boost your application, to make yourself more appealing to a university, including like extra and supercurricular activities. So it's so worth just applying and having that positive mindset. And then actually, as a result, you're probably going to work harder to get in because you've set yourself that goal. So it's always worth going for it. Preparing early. Now, this is a bit scary because, I mean, from my previous experience, I wasn't doing things anywhere near this early, but then I changed my mind on what courses I was doing. But it's definitely worth preparing early and getting into the mindset of what you want to do post 16, especially because now in education, you do have to stay within some form of education until you're 18. So it's definitely worth having a look early. There's no harm. I knew in year 10 that I wanted to study in Liverpool, for example, and that never changed. So having that idea that early on gives yourself a goal to work towards and makes tasks a little bit easier because you are cancelling out so many other institutions early on by focusing on something in particular. So in year 10, have a look at entry requirements. So what do you think you might get at GCSE, and how might that realistically work upwards to A level? So are the entry requirements something you think you can achieve? And it's worth listing universities you're interested in and chatting to students and visiting their websites. So by listing universities you're interested in, create a little short list of ones that you like the sound of, or cities that you like the sound of. In year 11, this is where you can start making preparation for your UCAS application. So for example, you can then shortlist the original list you made in year 10, figure out what your top 5 institutions might be. Attend some open days. There's no harm in going to open days early. It's often a great way to actually figure out if something's not for you. So it's really good to do it earlier rather than later. Think about the pandemic this year. How many year 12 students, if they'd gone a year earlier, they'd have been able to visit them in person, and now they can't. So this is something like preparing early is definitely worthwhile doing. And plan what activities you can get involved in at college or sixth form to help support your application. So this might be things like doing the Duke of Edinburgh. Your college might have a society. So for example, if you're interested in medicine, they will have a medicine society, most of them, or a dentist or veterinary science one. You might be set on Oxbridge, and they often have institutions like that. You might want to join Young Enterprise or Youth Politics. It's always worth having a look to see what you can do alongside your college education or sixth form education to help with your application. Another great one to figure out as well is whether you want to do the extended project qualification. So it's worth having a look into that too. So in year 12 is where the real work begins. So this is where you work towards achieving your entry requirements. You can take part in academic and extracurricular activities that will support your personal statement. So this might be sports, it might be clubs that I mentioned, it might be joining organizations, it could be doing things like watching documentaries, podcasts, reading books, having a look at journal articles, seeing what your library can do to give you access to free resources like that. You can also attend online subject taster sessions for your top 5 universities, and loads are doing them at the minute, us included. We have a bunch, we've just had one in law and criminology, for example, and we're going to have more coming up throughout the year, and other universities will be doing this because they can't do it in person. So see what subject taster sessions different universities have on offer. Even if you don't go to that institution or you have no interest in applying, it's still worth attending the taster session. And then attend open days for your top 5 universities and plan and prepare for these in detail. For example, what sort of questions would you ask staff and students? Examples can be, what facilities do you want to see, and what do they look for in applicants? And then in year 13, that's where you apply and study hard to make sure you achieve the entry requirements for the university that you chose. Some extracurricular activities. So what supercurricular activities should you or could you be doing to support your application? So I've already mentioned these: documentaries, podcasts, reading books, attending taster sessions. Supercurricular activities are anything that you can do related to the subject you're interested in that's outside of college or sixth form. What can you do to show you would be a student that the university would want to enroll? So doing things like that obviously shows that you're self-motivated, you're willing to work extra around the subject, you're an independent learner. There's loads that you can do that you can say that benefits you for that. And then what additional things can you be doing to make yourself and your application stand out? So this might be extracurriculars. This might be building on your communication and teamwork skills within sports. It might be the skills you've learned from doing a part-time job. There's all sorts you can be doing to make yourself stand out. And then it says, go the extra mile so you can stand out. So some things that you can do that are extra. You can start a blog about general anesthetic academic subjects. You could set up a professional Twitter account and tweet about general academic subjects, or follow people and retweet them. You can take a position of leadership. So that might be like being a prefect. It might be Duke of Edinburgh and leading in any of the expeditions you might be doing. And then creating a professional LinkedIn account, following the universities and post about academic activity you're involved in. You can also do some research, or you can enter competitions. So universities often do things like essay competitions. So you submit a piece of work to them, and then like they'll go through a list and create and get finalists, and then someone can win. That's always a great thing to do to stand out. You could also take extra qualifications to widen your experience. So an example of this could simply be a coaching qualification, or umpiring or refereeing within a sport. You could also use your initiative during COVID. You can still engage with extracurricular activity through this time. So there's loads of places you can look for online work experience, online volunteering, simple things like calling. There's charities that ask you to call elderly people who might not be able to socialize with anyone and might be isolated. Doing something like that is really special, but also great for your extracurricular activities. The key is to choose 3 or 4 valuable activities and excel in them, rather than spend a couple of weeks or lightly participate in many activities. So it's worth doing quality over quantity. Make sure you're doing a couple or 3 things that you're really, really passionate about, really interested in, and doing lots of work on those in your free time. And then COVID won't stop us. So we have some links here for work experience advice for aspiring medics during COVID and some virtual work experience advice that we got from prospects. Definitely worth looking into. There's a website also called vinspired.com, which offer loads of volunteering opportunities for virtual volunteering opportunities. And then there's websites like zooniverse.org, which offer you the ability to do research but from home. So there's loads of things out there. You just have to be savvy on what you search for in Google, for example. Other volunteering opportunities, so doit.org, MOOCs, so massive online open courses. They're a great way to boost your application, and it's a great supercurricular activity to do to learn more around a specific subject. And then a great website for MOOCs is futurelearn.com. So we are nearing the end now. I've got a few minutes where we can answer any questions that you might have. But just to mention some upcoming webinars that Lancaster are doing, we have general ones about university applications that we are calling Afternoons with Lancaster. They are sessions run on Wednesday afternoons or Thursday afternoons every week until the second week of December. We also have a load of subject-specific webinars because we know that we're not going to be able to have people on campus. Our departments, our academic departments are working really hard to deliver content for students that they can access online instead. So we have loads coming up, and we have those booked in to like May, June time. So it's worth looking at our website to see what we have available, but we check every month or so about what extra might be coming up, and other universities will also be doing this. I just think Lancaster themselves have a lot. So it's worth looking. I think we have quite a bit more than others, and we seem to have really got on board with the online webinar thing. But yeah, it's also worth looking at other universities for this as well, to see if they have something we don't, because we don't offer every course. If you want to chat to us after today, I know that this fair is going to remain open until mid-December-ish for if you have any extra questions. But if you want to speak to other members of staff or other students at Lancaster, you could go on our website at lancaster.ac.uk/chat and speak to any of us on there and choose who you speak to. If you want to speak to someone from a specific subject, you can do. Or you can post a question on the student room to one of our student advisors. The lovely thing about that is that there's other universities on there also, so you might not just get an answer from us. But just to close at 5 minutes to 2, thank you very much for attending. I hope I've given you worthwhile information. And do we have any questions, Nick?
Yeah, we've had a couple come through. So you have just answered the first question, which was how do you find out about online taster sessions? So you've answered that for Lancaster, which is great. So that's on our
actually, the other one though is the website www.uniquetasterdays.com.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. But I was
it's because I'm the person in our team that puts them all on there. Yeah. So I'm like, go on it. I work hard to make sure that everything is visible.
No, that's fab. So yeah, I was just going to say those exact words, bracket, and then on Unifrog as well. You can go on Unifrog, and a lot of universities publish their online events that are going ahead. So Unifrog, on that taster days, and then on the actual university web pages as well, they'll have all the information about the online activities that are going ahead. And then we had another question regarding extra qualifications towards applications, and are we looking for more academic qualifications? Now, when you're applying to these competitive universities, you will have to fill in a personal statement. Now, in your personal statement at Lancaster, we ask for around 75% of your personal statement to be talking about academic things. So it could be things that you've done in the curriculum that you've enjoyed, that you're passionate about. But what's really important to go in that 75% is what you're doing extracurricular that's academic. So outside of your curriculum, outside of your syllabus, because that is what's going to sell you, and it's going to sell your passion, motivation to do doing those extra things to really show you're the right person for that course, really. And then we say about 25% on extracurricular. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. I hope that's helped. If you want to find out any more information about that, you can head over to our live chat channel, and me and Bracken will be there now, and we can give you a lot more information on that if you want to. And okay, perfect. So we've had one more question. I think we've got time for one more.
Yeah, got time for one more, Nicola.
Perfect. So we've just had another question saying, how many university applications can you make? So you can apply through UCAS and you'll make 5 applications to different universities. Okay.
Great.
I realise my cat's coming in the background. Honestly, they get involved in everything.
Right, thank you everybody for attending the session. Thank you, Nicola and Bracken, for hosting for us today as well. And like you mentioned, you are going to be in your booth for the rest of the afternoon. So if anyone's got any questions specifically about Lancaster University, then you can head to the Lancaster University booth in the exhibit hall, and you can go and check out all the other booths there as well. So if anyone's got any more questions, then please do head to the booth. We've got another couple of presentations taking place. That'll be starting in 2 minutes. So I'm going to close this chat down now. Thank you everyone for attending. And again, Bracken and Nicola, thank you so much for hosting this session.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks
right,
everyone.
guys, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Bye.